Good morning, Canada, and welcome back to another episode. So, today we're going to be talking about pro choice. Yeah, there's this huge crusade to say that Pierre Poilievre is not pro choice right now, and I am here with my college notes that I never got rid of because I read 1984. And I want to talk to you why Pierre Poilievre is actually probably one of the best pro choice leaders of all of them, okay? Number one, Pierre Poilievre, let me just start off at the bat, has said that he is not touching women's abortion rights. And that's even to the dismay of some of the four pro-life conservative people, like very pro-life, okay? I only know of two because only two really have done anything. But Dr. Leslyn Lewis from Simcoe and then someone from Saskatchewan, is pro-life. Pierre has said plenty of times, and by the way, they have every right to be. You have every right to believe the thoughts you want to believe. Pierre has said, though, plenty of times that he's not touching the issue, and that Canada has lots more to worry about. And he's right, because that's the only reason why the Liberals and the NDP are bringing that up right now, saying that he's anti-choice, because obviously, first of all, it sounds bad to call people pro-life. Imagine calling someone pro-life, like he'd be like, yeah, I am pro-life. That's why I want to get in and save lives and stop this nonsense from happening. But that's why they're using this very hardcore, awful time in a woman's life to scare you guys into voting for them. First of all, I want to say, I'm sure I've said it on this channel before, or if not on my TikTok, that I was a single mom during Harper. Okay? I had the choice to keep the baby or not keep the baby. I kept the baby, and despite what the Liberals also tell you, I had access to funding, provincially and federally. I was able to put myself through college. That's what you get for educating a mentally ill woman, okay? What else? I had my daughter, had supports, got a check every month, got a baby bonus. Every year, if we put our kids in sports, we got a tax write-off for that. What else? The biggest one probably, the economy. People could work at Walmart and have an apartment, okay? If they wanted like a lot of money, they'd have to have a second job, but you could get an apartment. As I was a single mom, I didn't live in an apartment. I will say I lived with my grandparents, but at the same time, all of my friends who had kids easily had their kids in the daycare that I went to college to. Lots of amazing resources for single moms during the Harper era. And like I said, the economy was thriving. So we were able to really, have goals and see our futures as bright rather than having a baby, not knowing if even the world's going to end the next day, right? But what gets me in the head right here, right now, is the left and their inability to see that 4 years ago, and they continue to say stuff like this, that they locked women in their homes with their abusers and are okay with it. Now, here's the thing. I was cheering on lockdowns in the beginning. Okay, I was scared. I had no idea what was going on, but I can admit that I was wrong. I can admit that shutting down the economy can ruin lives. We have made the biggest divide between the wealthy and the poor, and it's so funny because everybody hates Galen Weston these days, but I don't know, 4 years ago, you guys were cheering on them being the only ones open. I didn't hear about you guys screaming about their profit margins back then. What gets me is that the thing is with Trudeau is that the carbon tax is not absorbed by these CEOs. It's obviously pushed back onto us. And instead of cutting it, he's just doubling down. But, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about 4 years ago, the Liberals taking away the rights and freedoms of people. And the thing is that we don't forget. A lot of people in Canada aren't going to be like me because they want their jobs. I am too sick to work. I had to move 7 hours north so that my husband could get paid fairly for the hard work that he does, and we could be able to afford a home that's going to fit our family, and that I could stay home. Okay? And then groceries started costing a bunch of money, but I digress. Because of locking people in their homes, women were abused. Okay, biggest femicide of all time in Canada. One woman dies every 48 hours at the hands of her partner, which means we don't have enough mental health facilities, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then you told women, hey, if you want out of this mess, you have to get waxed. You have to get waxed. And if you don't get waxed, then guess what? Well, you're shit out of luck. You're not getting your EI. You're not getting a job. You're not going anywhere. People didn't want to get that. I don't know why you guys all think that all of the Canadians that did that 2 times wanted to do it, but they didn't. I didn't. I don't. I've had an experience with a wax injury, and then they locked me in my home for 6 more weeks. I was part of a school, so we got put in lockdown 6 more weeks on top of everybody else in 2021, and basically I'm pretty sure it drove me to the point where I was like, okay, I'll get this thing. If it means that I don't have to go into lockdown again, I'll get this thing. Because my work said, like, if you don't get this, basically, like, you're fired, and if you ever get sick, we'll sue you, stuff like that. So, and that's a union. A public union that I pay into didn't even stick up for my rights and freedoms. And then they take away mobility rights. People weren't allowed to go see, if it wasn't for me being double waxed, I wouldn't have been able to get into that hospital and watch my grandma die. Do you know how mad I would have been? I was already mad enough that she was dying. If I wasn't allowed to go say goodbye to her. This government has no idea the impact that they have had on Canadians across this nation. And they have no idea because they think they've convinced everybody that this is all the premiers. This is Theresa Tam. Theresa Tam made all of the guidelines. And you know what? Some premiers let it happen and applauded it and cheered it on. And some of them looked like they were being held at gunpoint. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, you know, every premier probably wanted to do this and was on board, okay? But I can also see when people admit that they're wrong. And the only people that have admitted they were wrong in this situation was the Conservatives. They've tried to put a bill forward to make sure that we would never be subjected to vaccine mandates again. It was denied by the Liberals and the NDP, okay? But there are plenty of people like me out there. And you know what? Plenty of people not like me who don't speak up, but have noticed, wow, a lot of people in my family have mysteriously been unalived, you know, I can't say the word on here, but since 2021. A lot of people I know have had cancer. My health hasn't really been the same since 2021. I wonder what the common denominator is. Okay, a lot of Canadians are starting to put the pieces together. You can only convince so many chronically online feminists, I know because I used to be one, that they're going to take your rights away when you guys took away ours. You guys actually took away our rights. We know what your party's capable of. The NDP would love to go door to door to door and say, and wax you. Ask you why you haven't done it. Even in science, guys, there's always a controlled group. Like this is it was the most concerning because I went to school during Harper as a single mom. Remember I told you that? And I was taught a bunch of ethics that we had to follow to maintain a professional relationship between client and professional, okay? And the amount of ethics and moral principles that were broken, because by the way, when you are working with children, working with people with disabilities, working with a vulnerable group, like as a nurse, hospital, you take an oath, like a code of ethics oath, that you will follow these things to the best of your ability. And for the 3 years I was in college, they drilled this into my head. So like I said, this is your own fault for doing this to me. Because you educated me and then you tried to gaslight me. So people are like, where do you get your resources? College. Imagine that. So do no harm. The government of Canada, the Liberals, signed something saying that they knew that they didn't know the adverse effects yet. They didn't even know if this could stop treatment. They signed a letter saying that. Okay. So they knew, the government knew that whatever. It's because, here's the thing. If people get harmed by something, they're the ones that have to deal with it. Yeah, not anybody else. So, and then we have self-determination here. That was also affected. One of the ethics that was affected. Self-determination, respecting their rights and responsibilities of decision-making, like a client's. Reducing client dependency on others. Empowering client to make decisions and take responsibility for their well-being. Avoid influencing clients based on your values, feelings, and beliefs. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I would get up on here with my whole chest and say that the conservatives are the more pro-choice ones? No, I wouldn't. Then we have informed consent, okay? Which is clients feel like they can make any decision without being reprimanded or rewarded. That's literally in this, okay? Like, it's... Pause to read. Informed consent. Requirement to provide all necessary and applicable information that can make decision making based on all of the information. Requirement that clients are provided information is understandable given the developmental level that they're at and the language proficiencies that they're at. Consent is required before given any service, and you're not allowed to influence the client's decisions. By the way, being reprimanded would mean being fired from your job or not being able to travel. That's a reprimand, my friends. So, yeah. When the next time someone gets, fear mongering, because by the way, my videos with absolute facts get taken down while these people are allowed to spread that. The other day I seen them say that there's anti-schmorschmorschman centers. They're just pregnancy centers. Hey, just to let you guys know, some women don't want to be bombarded by the option of schmorschmorschman when all they want to do is keep their babies and everyone around them is telling them not to. And the bill C-311 was a bill to protect women who are pregnant. And because here's the thing, everywhere else you go, if you kill a pregnant woman, you're charged for the murder of the baby and the woman. But that doesn't happen in Canada because it might lead to abortion laws. That's what the conservatives, the bill they were trying to put through. Do you think that they would put through some sort of bill that would immediately get taken back by the Senate and Liberal, and not only that, a career killing bill? And then we have the fact that the NDP and the Liberals have a coalition going on right now and could also put through a bill to protect women's rights. Have we ever thought about that? How they don't do that? I don't know. Pierre came up with one to protect people from having to be subjugated to, forced what. I'm just saying. So please keep in mind when they are propagating this stuff to you, nothing bothers me more than when I go online and I see so many people saying anti-choice rhetoric. Okay, I want you guys to understand that you have been brainwashed by the media, and the media and the Liberals and the NDP will say these key words over and over again. I promise you that if you're somebody that's repeating them, you're not right. It's not. You need to do your own research, okay? Anti-choice, you cannot bend the ethics. If you are pro-choice, that means you're pro-choice about everything. The anti-wax rhetoric of calling people that is literally rooted in anti-choice rhetoric. You guys want to talk about rhetoric this, rhetoric that? That's what it is, okay? And it's so funny to people like me who stand on business. Okay? Because, like I said on TikTok, um, you guys are lucky that a situation like this didn't radicalize me into thinking that, because I would never get an A myself, okay? But that doesn't mean that I don't think you shouldn't be able to get one. And you're lucky that it didn't radicalize me into thinking that you shouldn't have that right, right? But what radicalized you guys into thinking that I shouldn't have the right? What radicalized you guys into thinking that these things are the be and end all, the savior of communities and medication, when quite literally fresh running, like, yes, Western medicine has its place in society. I absolutely agree. I am on medication, okay? But the fact of the matter is that we should be able to look at any product and say yes or no, look at the pros, look at the cons, gather the information that we need to make a decision, and not be forced out of a job, or, you know, fired, or not allowed to leave the country and things like that. And the liberals will come on here and try to convince you guys that the conservatives are all of these different things. And you know what? If they do end up being WEF and commie, whatever, I'll admit that, because I can admit when I am wrong. I stand on business when it comes to my ethics. Pro-choice means pro-choice. I will not expect anybody else to set themselves on fire to keep me warm. And that's just where I stand on business. So I hope you guys got something from this. And if you can, share my message, like, subscribe. It's free to subscribe. It's free to like. It's free to share. Yeah, I'm keeping going once every weekday. And tomorrow is my cure to Trump derangement syndrome. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. But have a great day, guys.